What is up, guys? It's your boy Groce, self-taught designer, and today we're going to be talking about how to get started as a product designer. So we've been talking about product designers very recently in my last couple videos, so I'm just going to give you the specifics on how to get started as a product designer. So as talked about before, it is very simple. So recapping on what exactly a product designer is. Product designer is a designer with the skill set of visual design, UI design, and somebody that understands the reasoning behind why they're creating what they're creating to invoke a certain behavior from the user, etc. So UX. So their skill set is UI UX based on our industry jargon, and these are people that work in our industry from working with mockups to the visual design to then the developers in order to get that into development. So with that said, how exactly do we get started in this? Before we get into it, my name is Groce. I'm a self-taught designer. I work with large brands such as Disney, Dan, and Huggies. So with that, this channel is all about being the best designer you can be and getting paid like you should. So if you haven't already, hit this like button down below and subscribe to this channel because you guys are gonna learn a lot here and help get you to that next step as a designer. So with that said, back into product designers and how to get started. So how to get started as a product designer. There's a lot of stuff in our industry just to learn in general, and it's very tempting to try to learn all that stuff all at once, but that's actually how you do not want to go about it. You want to start with user interface design, UI design, getting the visual piece down. And the reason this is because this is probably one of the hardest parts of it. And I don't want to say hard, this is one of the parts that takes time and getting your taste acclimated to how things should look, spacing, typography, etc. So how I normally tell designers to practice this UI design skill is to copy. And the thing is, a lot of designers like to put down the copying practices, but they copy too. They just don't like to talk about it because they feel like they're original. Anyways, the best way to get up to speed or learn faster is to copy other people's work so that you learn from good habits, learn from good design, and then subconsciously get those skills while you're practicing or copying their work, because those are technically the best pieces of design, both UX wise and UI wise. And of course, what I mean by copying is going on Dribble, seeing what's going on there, going on Behance, seeing what's going on there. It's looking at other apps, looking at Facebook, Netflix, YouTube, Amazon, things with good user experience, the big apps online. Copy those things. Especially for UI purposes, Dribble. Everything's pretty up in there. Look, copy, and mess around within your UI design tool. Now, going back into tools, I get this question of, what tool to use, what tool to use, what tool to use. It is never about the tool, it's about your skill set. Because once you have your skill set, you can maneuver in any tool possible. Tools are not that hard to use. But for example, there are two ones that I personally use, and that's Photoshop for asset creation, and that's Sketch to actually build out my websites and mobile app designs. So with that, those are the tools. So now we have tools, and now we know how to practice, which is copying. So those are the two get started today things that you need to get started into becoming, taking the steps to becoming the product designer. And really all it takes is about 2 to 3 months of everyday practicing. Once you've understood the tool, just like an hour a day, just practice. And pick one Dribble piece, finish it. Pick one Dribble piece, finish it. Pick one Behance piece, copy that one page, and just keep practicing like that. And that's what I call practicing good habits. You're practicing somebody that is already on a certain level, and you're trying to reverse engineer their result. And that's always how you get better. It's practicing from what other, the top dogs in the space, trying to recreate their result, and you'll end up in their same footsteps and on their same pathway. So with that, copy to learn. So what's next? The next piece after that, once you're proficient in UI design side of things, then you'll start to look into the why, the reasoning behind why you're building something. So why does this component go here in the design? Why do they decide to use a slider here? Why do they decide to design the page like this? That is then the type of research that you'll be doing, the reason behind why the page was designed in that specific way. And that's what we call user experience design. So we've practiced the UI design. We got our tool, we got our practice in, and now we're learning, step 2, the reason why we're doing what we're doing. So we go from making pretty things to making pretty things for a reason. Creating things to evoke a certain behavior from our users. So really that's it, guys. It's those 2 skill sets that create a product designer, especially just the getting started piece, okay? Now, of course, it takes more than 3 months to get really good, but this is how you get momentum into getting into becoming a product designer. So with that said, guys, this is all about taking action and not worrying about whatever anybody else is doing and just getting your time in. Get your tool, get Photoshop, Sketch, then go on Behance, Dribbble, some design inspiration site. Copy exactly, if you're a beginner, copy exactly what you see once you learn the tool and get that practice, that repetition. And once you get to a place where you feel good, or you get to a place where you're completing things almost exactly like those Dribbble pieces, then start to move into understanding the reason behind why people are building specific components on a page or within an app. And that is the get started process for how to become a product designer. Very simple, guys. All you have to do is put in the time. Things aren't difficult, things just take time. So with that, guys, drop in the comments what you think about this process. Do you have any other questions about getting started? Because really it is this simple. You just have to put in the time. Time is everything. Other than that, guys, that is it. That is my tip for you guys today to get into the field as a product designer. So with that, Brandon Groce, self-taught designer, out.